Welcome into the Chasing Trails podcast, brought to you by St. John Trail Running and powered by Resilience Through Fitness. Join two middle-aged dads as they sit down and talk trail running, life, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Jeff LeBlanc and Brandon Thompson.
All right, everyone. It's another episode of the Chasing Trails podcast. You got Jeff and Brandon here with you, ready to unpack another great episode. We've got a great guest on the show today, Cody Cooper. We'll get to our conversation with him in a few minutes. But just before we get started, thanks so much for listening. And we'd ask if you like what you're hearing, click subscribe on YouTube, ring that bell, sign up or follow us on Spotify or Apple Music. We'd love to have you on board with us and the Chasing Trails family. And of course, that helps us get the word out about the show. And so we're glad that you're here with us. And Jeff, it's great to see you. How are you enjoying the summer, or how are you doing?
Summer's good. I like August is my favorite summer month for sure. Right?
August
it's funny.
Has been awesome so far.
Yeah. I mean, I went outside literally August 1st, that Friday. The first thing in the morning, I went out to move the cars because we had people coming to do construction around the house, and it was immediately flipped to this cool, brisk morning of what felt like it was 15 degrees or 12 degrees, something like that. But it felt so cool and brisk. And I was like, isn't it crazy how August 1st hits and all of a sudden the humidity just goes away in the evenings. And then the nighttime is just beautiful. You can open your windows when you're sleeping, and August is great. So,
well, you say that it was hot here today.
During the day, it was hot here in Virgin too, but it's probably already cooled off outside.
Yeah, the air does get colder. You're right.
Yeah,
and I've just been finding I just want to get outside and enjoy the great weather. I know our friends in Nova Scotia are feeling it right now.
Yeah, man.
Put the ban on going into the woods and that kind of thing. You had to cancel Capes 100 the couple days before the race, and that's really tough and feel really bad for them. But so far in New Brunswick, we've been able to kind of keep in the woods, and that's good. But it's a tough time when things get knocked out like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a little bit harder for them to make that argument in New Brunswick, probably with all the Irving trucks that are cutting trees here. Everyone stay out of the woods, but Irving can continue to cut trees down. Feel free to keep your thing going. Yeah. I saw a couple folks, Jess Vickrick, registered for Capes, or not Capes. What's that race that Yost does over on the Campbell Island race in replacement of the Capes 100? So good for her. And it's good to see that St. John Trail Running and Mark are going to try to pull their weight and see what they can do to get as many people in as possible at Looney Loops. So that was encouraging in the light of a pretty sad moment there with the Capes 100. So hopefully some people are able to transfer some bibs for those who are injured or maybe can't go, who were trying to train for that and can come and do fun things with us at Looney Loops. So
yeah, for sure. So hopefully we'll be able to enjoy some more trail races throughout the summer. And hopefully it friggin' rains. That'd be nice if it just rained and then this would all just go away. But
everyone needs some rain.
We're waiting for that. But in the meantime, Jeff, catch us up. Let's catch up on our training plans here. How are we making out? I got a nice half marathon in on the weekend, which is a crazy route, which we can talk about that in a minute. But it was way hillier than I wanted it to be. But got some good time.
Well, that's good for you.
Felt good. Yeah, felt good. How are you doing?
Yeah, my training has been non-existent as far as running goes.
Getting lots of golf in though.
Get lots of golf in. That's true. I have to get lots of golf in. So that's been fun, and that takes it out of you a little bit. Gets you tired when it's 42 degrees and you're out golfing. Because some of that was work required. Not on the 18. We've been taking a cart. But I still walk a fair bit of it. So because generally, I don't hit the ball that far, so I can just walk to it. And if we're on opposite sides of the fairway, especially if I'm golfing with my dad, usually I'll send him off in the cart and I'll grab a club and walk. So I do I still get in 12 or 15,000 steps, in a round of 18. So, it's not like I'm not doing anything, but I also swing the club 110 or 12 times. So, most people do that in like 85. So I'm doing extra work there. But I don't know what it's been. I'm in this like mood where I wouldn't even consider that I'm in a funk. Like, I'm not in a bad mood. I just don't want to. I can't even explain it. I just don't want to run. I went and swam laps with Amelia a couple times because she's currently at an overnight camp doing her bronze medallion, and they have a time swim that they had to do there. And I really enjoyed that, and that was good to get out and get some exercise. And I've really been enjoying getting outside and golfing. And I don't want to run, and I know what it is. Like I say, I don't know, but it's knowing that my Achilles is going to kill afterwards, and that I'm going to be limping around the office or limp around the house and be basically useless for 2 days or whatever, because I'll probably overdo it. And knowing that I should only run 5 or 10 kilometers in a setting almost seems like pointless, based on some of my goals that I had. So I know that that's part of it, and the fact that from what I can tell from the internet and from my physiotherapist, like with Achilles tendinopathy, if I'm saying that right, there's not really a lot of fixes for it until it goes away. It's just going to hurt, and so you just have to sort of get over that and find a sweet spot. And so I think at first I was excited that like, okay, I'm not fully injured, so that's great. But then the thought of like not having like a real recovery plan that's like, okay, just rest for a couple days and get back at it, you'll be fine. Or like with a torn muscle, it's like, okay, well, we'll tape it up and you can ice it and you can rest for 2 or 3 weeks and get back to regular scheduled activity. So I have to keep at it, and I know that that's the recommendation, is to stay with it and keep working on it so it strengthens and you'll get better over time. But just the fact that I know it's going to hurt, I think, has mentally derailed me. And the other problem is in the morning, like when I wake up, it's really tight. And my physiotherapist said that would be the case and it should loosen up. But the problem is it takes 45 minutes for it to loosen up. And I roll the bottom of my foot and I walk around the kitchen quietly to try not to wake everyone up and get it going. And then, 45 minutes to an hour later, all of a sudden it's kind of loosened up and it's not painful anymore and it's feeling good. And it's like, well, now I have to go to work. I can't go run, right? So I know that I'm a morning runner because if I don't get it done in the morning, I don't end up getting it done. And so that's been the difficulty, that I have other things to do. So yeah, I could make a million excuses. But as you'll all hear soon, from our guest today, those are just excuses. So I need to stop complaining and just get on with it. So,
well, I mean, the injury thing is real, and it is hard when there's like a disorientation around like, how do I move forward through this when there's no real clear, like, all right, wait 2 weeks, then do this. And like, you don't have a clear timeline. And so that can be disorienting and it can be really discouraging. But it is like something that comes in waves, and hopefully you'll be able to get out there again. But it is
right now. I'm just telling myself that I'm saving myself for Looney Loops. Like I'm saving up. I'm saving up the energy. I'm already carb loading for 4 weeks from now.
The taper has begun.
The taper has begun. And so like I'm my own worst enemy. Like I had a physio appointment for this Friday that I canceled because my only job was to get out running 4 to 5 times to try to set a baseline so that we could create something of a plan. I didn't end up doing that. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go waste this guy's time, go to a half-hour appointment to tell him I didn't run since last time I talked to him. What would be the point of that, right? I will rebook it. I will, because I am going to get out running this weekend is the plan. So,
yeah. Anyway. And I also find too, like in these dog days of summer, especially, like there are other things that are more appealing, like there's like swimming, for example. I think that's fantastic. And even just having a slower pace at times, like Natalie and I were talking about this the other day, because I've been evaluating running and what it's doing for me and life and that sort of thing. And when you start having as many like mental issues, like stress around a training plan, when you're supposed to be running to kind of alleviate stress and mental load, like, is this actually accomplishing the things that you want it to accomplish? And so it's been just trying to wrestle with what does that look like as a 40-year-old, guy, and trying to figure that out, who doesn't, so I totally get what you're saying. Like, I was like, I had my own kind of little funk there I was in 2 weeks ago, where I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't, know what to do. And then you sent me the Iron Man picture with your little eyeball emoji, and I was like, I don't know, maybe we need to rethink this whole thing. And you said that at the worst time for me, because I was like, oh well, Jeff's ready to bail, I'm ready to bail, like maybe this is it. But
I think you read that wrong. I'm not bailing. I think I'm a little bit bored. I think that's my problem. Yeah. I don't get the same stimulus. I forgot to mention that earlier. I was talking because I was complaining too much just now. But I also thought the last couple days, like, when I went swimming, like, it felt really good. It reminded me of the days I used to swim 3 times a week, quite a few laps. And I was like, wow, that really felt good. It was a good workout. It felt good. And it gave me like just a different stimulus that must have released some sort of chemicals in my brain that made me feel good, right? Yeah. And so it didn't hurt afterwards. My ankle didn't hurt, right? So part of it was like, well, if I'm going to run less or not as frequent, maybe I'll think about doing triathlon training again, just to get a different stimulus, so I'm not as bored as I seem to be with running. Yeah. Just to add in, that's where people cross train, and I don't know why, but like I completely stopped cross training. So maybe that's part of my injury, maybe that's part of my problem. But no, we're not bailing, Brandon. We got this show going. We got a thing going. Don't be telling. We're not bailing. You're in this full bore.
This will be the title for this episode. The last Chasing Trails episode. ...
Yeah. We are not quitting. Okay. This whole episode is about not quitting right now.
Exactly.
Right.
It is about not quitting. And I think you're absolutely right. I think you can get bored with just doing the regular thing, and that's got to be natural. I don't think it's, you and I both have like undiagnosed ADD. Like, you and I both, we definitely do. There's no questions about it. We should get ourselves diagnosed and just be like fully on board with it. But we should ask
an accountant, like, if ADD is a tax credit. That would encourage me to go get fully diagnosed then, if I could write it off on my taxes. But
so I mean, you just get bored with what you're doing, and then you focus in on something else, and that gets a lot of your attention, like golf for you, or something else for me, and it just becomes something that you just get distracted by. So I think that's pretty natural. It's just trying to figure out ways to work with what you got going on. And so the swimming, cycling, those are all great cross training things. Like, we shouldn't eliminate those.
Right.
So we'll keep pressing on. And figuring out what that looks like for us.
So what was your training like?
So I did this. I was like, I have not had like a legitimate long run in a while, because it keeps getting cut short. And so I was like, I'm going to go do it. The kids were off doing something with Natalie, and I was like, it's fairly nice out. It was pretty hot, but I was like, let's go do it. And my neighbor, who did QMT, I think she did the 80K, told me about this route in Hampton. And so it was a half marathon route. And I was like, oh, I'll try that. And so I loaded up my bag, my vest, and I got my bladder on and everything like that. And so I started going, and I was trying to decide which direction to go in, because one has a huge hill, the Hall Road at the beginning of it, and the other one was just kind of like a gradual ascent to begin with. And I was like, well, let's just take the gradual one to get started and see how it goes. Well, that was a huge mistake, because it was just uphill the whole time. It was like 300 meters of vert in like this 21-kilometer section. And I was just like cursing and swearing every time I go up this. It seemed like the hill would stop, and then it would just keep going. And anyway, but it did run by Hampton Brewing. So that was a nice little spot. I didn't stop. I kept going, but I did buy myself a treat at Tim Hortons. I got myself a little quencher there, and finished her off and got the half marathon. So It felt good. A little bit more walking than I wanted there to be because of the hills, but definitely felt good after. And I got down and I sat on the deck and I was like, I can remember like our very first half marathon and how that just killed me. And then I felt really proud about doing it again. I was like, yeah, it's like I've come a long way since that first one. And so it was good to be able to get it done. But
it's true. It's good to have those moments when you realize, like, you know, how often and when were you able to just randomly get up on a Saturday morning and just go to a half marathon, right? Like, you've come a long way when we trained all year to do the hypothermic half, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah, and that was pretty brutal, but it was it was a kind of a nice little reflection moment. But it's coming. We'll see how it works out. This week hasn't been great because I've got a business trip or I got to go away for work. And so that's going to be jamming a whole bunch of stuff into a short week. So we'll see how it goes. I might run while I'm away. But it should be fun. But so that's how training's going for us. We hope your training's going well. And we hope that you're able to put up with the heat and starting to enjoy these days in August. But we've got a real treat for you today. We've got Cody Cooper, who is an amazing athlete, has set all sorts of records in the trail running scene here in Atlantic, Canada. He's going to tell us about his QMT adventure. And so we're excited to hear what he has to say. You're going to love it. You're going to want to hear every minute of it because he gets
buckle
into the
up.
gory details. Yeah, he gets into the gory details. Yeah. And it's a great story, and you'll be encouraged. It's all about perseverance and not quitting. And sometimes that's the message we need to hear. And so we hope that
absolutely.
We hope that you'll enjoy it today. So here's Cody. Welcome in, everyone. We're thrilled to be able to have in the Chasing Trails studios with us, Cody Cooper. I was thinking about, as I was getting ready to introduce you, Cody, I don't know if you remember this from when you were a kid, but do you remember on TGIF, they used to have Hanging with Mr. Cooper? Maybe that's like a millennial thing or something. I don't know. But I was just thinking, we get to hang with Mr. Cooper today. And so thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here once again.
Yeah, it's actually great to see your face because most of the time I only see the back of your head. So as you're running by, so it's fantastic to be able to catch up face to face like this. And
I'll just start writing messages on the backs of my shirts.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Inspiring quotes, right? You just need to have those on the back.
You got this. You can do it.
That's right. Yeah. Catch me if you can. That's the thing here. It's great having you back on the show. And last time we talked with you, it felt like you were just kind of coming into your own with trail running, and you set like course records at Rompin' Rockwood and in our local area, and it just seems like you have just been growing and growing and growing. So can you just fill us in on how's life been, how's running been since the last time we talked to you? It's been like over a year, it feels like.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I think it has been just about over a year now. And then, to be honest, I'm still coming to my own with the whole running thing. Every run, it seems like I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
But after Rompin' Rockwood, we had a good chat last year, and then I kind of finished that season off as still a cyclist, but I was running quite a bit as well. I think I had mentioned in the last podcast that I wanted to experience what it was like to run 100 kilometers or run 100 miles. And I was fortunate to be able to do that last year at Looney Loops, which is coming up pretty shortly here again this year.
Yeah.
And it sucked. It was just as hard as everybody says that it's gonna be, and you do your best to prepare for it, and then all of a sudden it's the hardest thing you've ever done in your life.
Yeah.
And over the past couple of years, it kind of seems like I've just been doing like the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, and then I do something else and it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and then I do something else and well, now that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and I'm not dead yet, so I'm probably going to keep doing things that are really hard. But
that's awesome. I wanted to pick your brain before you go. Sorry to interrupt, but before you go any further, do you know what I remember the most about just being around you while you're doing your 100-mile run at Looney Loops was your fueling strategy, right? Which was, correct me if I'm wrong, but was it gummy candies? Like what? It was like I'm trying to remember the name of the kind of candy, but it was
Jolly Rancher candies.
Yeah, that's right. And then, like, did you have a sub or something at some point in time as well? Like, what was your fueling strategy through the whole thing?
So a couple of times throughout the 24 hours, Subway had sponsored a couple of subs for my friend and I.
Yeah.
And then I had a whole bunch of Science and Sport or SIS gels, which are 40 grams of carbs per.
Yeah.
So it's quite substantial, and then all kinds of candy as well.
I remember swiping some candies as I ran by a couple times, I won't lie, but they were just like sitting there in the bag, and I was like, oh, he won't notice these couple. So
that's what they were there for. They were there for everybody.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
No,
you were
that's
after
right.
that.
After Looney Loops, I had already done that really big ride that the documentary was being filmed about, which we're going to have a viewing. I still haven't seen it. The first time I'm going to see it is going to be next Thursday.
Cool.
Which I'm pretty excited about. And then it should be on schedule to be released for Outdoor Film Festival for the general public to see, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
A little nerve-wracking. I don't know how I feel about having just gone for a bike ride and then somebody filmed it, and I don't know what it's going to be like to be portrayed in a way that is out of my control.
Yeah.
So it's a little nerve-wracking in that sense, but I'm excited. It should be pretty fun.
Yeah. I can tell you, like, it's super awkward watching yourself on a screen, and so just get settled in for that part, because it'll be like, whoa, that's a giant version of me on the screen, and you just get super self-conscious, but it'll be fantastic. Everyone will love it, but it'll feel weird for you probably, because I know that's how Jeff and I feel when we kind of scroll through our YouTubes, and you're just like, oh, that's kind of cringy.
Did I say that?
Yeah, that's right. Why would I say that? Or I get that all the time, actually, though. Like, why did I say that? But yeah. Anyway, so after the Outdoor Film Festival, you're going to be a movie star, and people will be wanting to talk to you all the time. And then go from there.
I'll sign some autographs now for you.
Yes, that'd be fantastic. Get your Cody Cooper autographs here first.
No, I think it's going to be pretty chill. But Isaac is a phenomenal filmmaker, and I think I have full faith that he's done a phenomenal job. And I don't know anything about it. I haven't seen it. I was there, but again, like he was filming in places that I didn't know that he was going to be there, and like he had some drone footage and all sorts of stuff. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that I didn't see, or angles that I didn't see.
Yeah.
Him filming at, and that'll be exciting, I think.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So after the ride and then Looney Loops, I just kind of went into developing a training program for myself for QMT, which in hindsight I should have done a lot of things differently, but I mean it's hindsight, so you can't go back now. But I switched totally away from cycling. I built a program in the gym and then also with running, and it was 100% running, so no cycling involved, for a little bit over 6 months.
Yeah,
which was kind of hard. In hindsight, I think I would go back, and for the next time that I do QMT or anything like that, there's going to be a lot of cycling involved, for sure.
Yeah. And so what went into your, like, creating your plan? Like, how did you go about doing that? Did you do some research, talk with coaches, or did you just kind of say, hey, this is what I need? Or how did you go about building that plan?
Fitness has been part of my life for pretty much my entire life, so I have a pretty decent base base knowledge of what it needs to revolve around. And I know that there was certain areas of my body that were weaker than others, and there was things that I knew that I was going to need to work on, such as like ankle strength and mobility, hip strength and mobility, and that sort of stuff. Things that as a rock climber didn't really need, as a weightlifter I didn't really need,
right?
But as a runner definitely need. So I built a training program to focus on that sort of mobility and strength, and then of course like hamstrings and glutes and glute medius and that sort of stuff, while running as well. And then eventually it started out, because I was injured at the time, it started out as more being in the gym than running, and then eventually the running started to increase, the gym started to decrease. They met in volume, where I was doing the same amount of volume in running and being in the gym. And then eventually the running took over, the gym dwindled, and now I'm just kind of in like a maintenance phase right now, trying to not injure myself for the rest of the season.
That's wild. I mean, it seems like I'm actually kind of glad to hear that that's your goal, like just to not get injured, because that's my goal too. And it just seems like that's kind of like we have something in common. We're very different runners, but we have something in common. That's just don't get hurt. So
don't get hurt.
That's right. We're on team no injury, so that's good. But you did go through, a wild race at QMT, and so we wanted to just pick your brain. You caught our attention when you posted this great post about how team running, or running is a team sport, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But tell us your first impressions of the course itself at QMT, and what distance did you do, and just kind of give us your initial thoughts there, and then we'll get into the actual race.
Sure. This year, QMT had a distance that was 135 kilometers. It was the first year that they had it. And to the best of my knowledge, it was basically the 100-mile loop that they took some weird parts out of. And then they ended up with 135 kilometers. And I have two different opinions on the course. One is hindsight, and the other is how I felt at the time. So we'll just talk about the hindsight part.
Sure.
Now, looking back, it was actually very runnable. The course was beautiful. We started at nighttime, so I didn't get to see a whole lot for the first bunch of hours, but the trail was not incredibly technical. There was roots and rocks, and it was very steep. Lots of climbing, lots of descending. There was a little bit more road at the beginning than I anticipated. Super steep road. Like, yeah. I wouldn't want to drive down that in the wintertime by any means. But once we get about halfway through the course, it's now daytime. There's a lot of service roads that are overgrown, that sort of thing. So you're running through grass and mud and can't really see the ground at times. But I was thinking about it the other day, and it's kind of one of two things. It's either, or three things, I guess. It's up, it's down, or it's runnable. I was warned that it was going to be incredibly technical, and in some aspects it was, but it was just like running at Split Rock Trail or any of the coastal trails in Laurinville, a little bit of Rockwood Park, but the only thing that was a huge shock was the elevation. Like, I knew that going into it there was going to be 6,000 meters of elevation over the 135 kilometers, but what that means saying it out loud and what that means running it are
right.
Totally different things.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, the course itself, absolutely phenomenal. I might have hated every step while I was doing it, but looking back, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been the worst thing ever.
Right. So is the 6,000 vertical climbing, is that in like big chunks, or is it spread throughout like pretty well throughout the whole 135? Like, is there just giant chunks of climbing and then it kind of levels off, or how does it disperse on the course?
The very beginning and the very end kind of have the majority of the climbing, but it is pretty well dispersed. Like you're not climbing 3,000 meters over 20K or anything like that. But the first 40K have the two biggest climbs back to back, and which is eye-opening, to say the least. And then at the very end, you have to run up Mount St. Anne, which it's only a 3.5 kilometer section, but it's 633 meters of elevation in that 3.5 kilometers. So I was on my hands and knees and crawling and doing whatever it took to get up. But
wow!
And then you get to the top and you have to run almost the whole way back down and then back up again before finishing the last 25-ish kilometers.
Yeah. Wow. So you've done Chiggy, you've done like is QMT the hardest one you've done so far?
That's a hard question.
Okay.
Because they're all hard in their own ways.
Sure. Okay.
QMT had the ability to not be as difficult as Chiggy or as difficult as the 100 miles at Looney Loops. It was my own fault why it was so difficult. Although, like, I could have climbed a whole lot more. I could have done a whole lot of heat training, which both of those things would have helped a whole lot. But if I wouldn't have made some crucial mistakes at the very beginning, the rest of the 125 kilometers wouldn't have been so bad.
Yeah.
So as a course, I think Chiggy might actually be a little bit harder. The Looney Loops course is really easy.
Yeah.
It's a little monotonous after a while if you're running 52 laps.
Yeah. We wouldn't know, so we'll just take your word for it.
Yeah, it was monotonous after 18, so I can't even imagine.
3. It's monotonous after 3, so that's we understand that part, I guess.
Yeah. The Chiggy course, although that's kind of where I injured myself, or where my injury came to light. So I was only able to run the one lap, which actually I ended up walking like the last 20 kilometers or so. But I think running 3 laps there would be equal, if not harder, than QMT.
Yeah.
Just with the combination of elevation and technical running. There's a lot more runnable stuff in QMT than there was in Chiggy.
Gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. So let's break down the race itself. Let's spend some time talking about this. And so we know it was a struggle from some of the posts that you had, and we were following the St. John Trail Running Instagram as it kind of led us through that. But if someone didn't see that and see some of the updates, walk us through starting gun to finish line, what your experience was like.
Okay. So race starts at 10 o'clock. My bedtime's a hard 9 o'clock.
So off the cuff, it's really messing you up.
I'm sitting with Mark and Amber outside their van, basically falling asleep in a chair. Dawson Mossman was there with his crew as well, and so we're just kind of chatting, getting ready to go, that sort of thing. And then when we get to the starting gate, there's a massive amount of people there. There was probably more people there than I've ever seen at a race before, even though it was 10 p.m. and way past most people's bedtime. The announcer at the start, they were playing a song, I believe it's from Rush, I think it's called Xanadu, which gets you pumped up, and it's it's almost emotional, the way that they have it going. There's lights and fog machines and all that sort of stuff.
Wow,
and,
no kidding.
Yeah, it was really cool. So everybody's in the corral, I guess, or most people are in the corral waiting for the gun to go off. And I'm making some adjustments with my 2 flasks that I have. The nipple on it that you bite down on pops off, so now I'm like losing all of my nutrition before the race even starts, which was fine. More weight savings, I guess.
Yeah,
so the gun goes off. We run around where they usually keep some cows and that sort of stuff. Then we actually double back to run the opposite way through the start gate, so they could get some cool videos and photos and that sort of stuff. And then I was fortunate to get a good spot in the corral, so I come through the starting gate in second, just following behind. My goal was to be somewheres in the top 10. I had no idea how fast everybody was going to be, or what people's strategy was going to be. I've never done something like that. That's the biggest race event, or the biggest event I've ever done, period, across any sport. And so we start running down the road. There's a big pack of us. We're running what I want to say is kind of chill. We're running at like probably like a 4.5 minute pace, which isn't too bad. And then we run on the road for maybe 6 kilometers before dipping into the woods. That first 6 kilometers was awesome.
Yeah,
that was the best part of the race. for me. So we start climbing, and I'm too far ahead. I'm in a position that I don't think that I should be in, and it doesn't come apparent until maybe like 2 or 3 kilometers up the first climb. And this guy in front of me is bouncing. He's literally just bouncing every single step with a whole bunch of height, and makes it look effortless and easy. And I'm walking behind him, keeping up, but having the hardest time. And my heart rate's already at 185 beats per minute. Didn't plan on being there anywhere throughout the race.
Right.
So I'm going too hard. I'm trying way too hard. So I make the conscious effort. I need to slow down. So I do. And we make it to the top of the first climb. Single track kind of comes to an end. And now we're running on the road again. We're running down this super steep hill. And I'm trying to be leisurely with it, while still being aware that I'm racing. And then these hills are incredible. It's like running directly down a ski hill or a ski slope, but it's paved, it's road. The next climb starts, and I start to get this kind of feeling in my stomach, probably from the amount of elevation climbing, and the effort that I was putting in, all combined, all together. I stopped being able to take in my nutrition, so I had 2 flasks that were both filled with carbohydrates. And then I had a bladder in the back that was also filled with carbohydrates, and I can't drink any of it. It's every time I try, it just it starts coming right back up again. So we hit the 20 kilometer mark, and I just dump them both out, dump out both my bottles, and I fill it with just water. So now I'm able to take just water. I have some salt pills, so salt, water, no problem. I have some gels as well, so I'll just deal with water, gels, and salt. The first aid station where Mark and Amber are going to be is another 20 kilometers away. I can get whatever I need. Everything's going to be fine. Keep running, and then I hit like a little stump almost, like a little tiny shrub had been cut, and I landed on that, roll my ankle. I swear really loud. The person in front of me actually like stopped and turned around and was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you going to be fine?" I was like, "Yeah, everything's okay." I just breathed through it, walked a little bit, and then I keep going. I get to the point where in my nutrition strategy where I need to eat. I need to have some sort of carbs or whatever. So I take a gel. The gel goes down and then right back up again.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, this is going to be a problem, but it's not a problem right now, so I'm just going to keep running. So I keep running, drinking my water, taking my salt pills, and then I still have the bladder and the back that's filled with carbs. So every once in a while, I'll take a little tiny sip of that and hope that goes down. My guts just start gurgling every single time. I'm like, okay, well, it's gurgling, but I'm not throwing it up. So a tiny sip, that's okay. That's okay. And then I'll just continue with my salt and my water. I'm at 35 kilometers in at this point, maybe. And then all of the little sips that I had been taking, they're gone. They came up, and I'm in pain now. I'm way more tired than I should be from my initial running too hard up the first hill. I can't eat. I get to the aid station. Mark and Amber are there. The words don't come out of my mouth, but I'm done. Like I don't think I can keep going. I didn't actually say it out loud. Mark's there. He's filling my water bottles. I have to sit down. They make sure that I'm okay. They try to get me to eat. I tell them like I can't eat because I'm just gonna throw it up. So then they send me on my way. I'm out now. I'm just on salt and water. No nutrition at all. Is actually staying down. And I have another 40 kilometers to go before I see Mark and Amber again. So the course that we're running on, it was okay. I was running at a pace that I thought that I could, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to eat, and just able to have my salt in my water. So I'm running. It's about another 20 kilometers or so. And there's another aid station there. I fill up my bottles there, and I try to eat. And just because like I need to keep trying, you can't just give up. The whole eating thing, trying to run 100 and what ended up 139 kilometers with no nutrition, it's just not going to work. So
right. Yeah,
got to keep trying, even if it's going to come back up. Got to keep trying. So I eat like a quarter of a banana. That goes down. It's really good. And then I keep running 5, maybe 6 kilometers later, no more banana.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've thrown up bananas before.
Yeah, it doesn't come up the same way as it goes down. It doesn't.
No, that's right. It does not.
No. Looking back, the course up until this point was awesome. It was largely runnable, aside from the big climbs. It wasn't super technical. If everything was good, it would have been fairly fast. So we're running down these service roads, and I'm just like tripping on everything, every root, every rock. I can't find my feet. I don't know what's happening. It's almost like I can't see. And in my head, I'm like, what is it that I need? What is making me feel this way? And it's always hard to run through all of the options because you've planned for everything, or at least you think you've planned for everything. And when something goes wrong, that's not something that you've already planned for, how do you come up with that as an option? And for me, it's usually heat. Heat is my enemy, and it was really hot. Even though it was the middle of the night, it was really hot and humid, and I wasn't really used to it, so maybe that was a contributing factor. So anyways, we're running. I meet this guy, he spoke English, which was really cool. Because something you got to remember is everybody's French there. So you might be passing people or running with people, but most of them are just French. So, and I don't speak French. So I was not really able to talk to anybody or communicate, except for this one guy that I meet at kilometer like 65 or something like that. And before you get to this next section where I'm going to run into Mark and Amber, which is at 80K, you get this super beautiful runnable section next to a lake with this nice, loamy, soft trail that just kind of winds. You could pick up speed if you had energy and really like make up a little bit of time there. I ended up walking most of it. Just because that's where my state of mind was at the time.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that, you get to this culvert, which is really cool because you walk under a road through the water, and you can't see anything in the water. So you got to just kind of take your time and feel around. But you're waiting. For me, I'm really short, so it was basically like a little bit over knee deep.
Yeah.
And then you get to what is probably your biggest aid station. And at this point, Mark's at the end of the tunnel, and I'm done. I DNF. The words physically come out of my mouth. I cannot keep going. I have no more to give. I rolled my ankle. I can't keep food down. I'm not okay. And like my knees are hurting. All the excuses, everything. I'm not good. I'm not gonna keep going. And Mark looks at me and he's like, well, sure. Why don't we just sit down for 5 minutes and we'll talk about it? Sure, man. I'm done, but I'll sit down.
What did he say?
He's like, well, we'll try and get you some food and whatever. And if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. Sure, man. Sure. So we get into this big white tent, which is the aid station. And I just sit down on the ground. They try to get me some food, which isn't really going down. And then Amber runs to the van. She makes me a smoothie, a fruit smoothie, and I was able to kind of sip on that to get a little bit of nutrients. I'm cooling down now because I'm in the shade. Everything's okay. They call over a physiotherapist. Physio comes over, tapes up my ankle. So now the ankle's not a problem, or at least they take that problem away from me.
Are they getting rid of your excuse?
Yeah. And then my toes are messed up, so I need to change my socks. My shoes aren't working out because they're running into, like, my toes are running into the toe box with pretty much every single step. So it's excruciating. I'm about to lose all of my toenails, confirmed. At this point in time, I can tell you I did lose all of my toenails.
There we go. Yeah.
So they tape my feet for me. They tape my ankles for me. They get me Advil. They give me whatever sort of nutrition they can. And it gets to the point where they're giving me so much help that now I feel guilty, not saying, yeah, I'll at least try.
Right.
Sure. I can go up the road, and if I'm not feeling it, I can turn around. So I leave. As soon as I leave, I can't turn around now because I've already left. So it's too far gone. It's like leaving something inside your house when you go to work and you're like, I'll just get it later. So I keep running, and this is a super beautiful runnable section. There's some people on the side of the road with a sprinkler going. I definitely get under that to keep myself from overheating again. I think of being fueled right now off of the smoothie that Amber had made in the van. And that was enough of a boost for me to keep going. So I keep running, and we're getting into a section in the woods that's it's pretty steep and technical, so probably one of the more technical sections of the entire race. And it's a little bit windy, a little bit rooty. hard to really pick up speed, which was great for me because there was no speed. I was already done. I'm full on walking at this point. I'm not racing. I already quit. I'm not out there anymore. I'm just waiting to the next aid station when I can say I'm done. Thank you very much. I'm done. The next aid station is 20k away, and it's going to be at Mount St. Anne. So to get there, you have to go through this section called Mistabisho, which is basically bouldering. You're climbing these big rocks and climbing through these gaps to try and get through. It's perfect for me because I can't run anyway. So to get through this, you have to walk. So fit right in. Perfect. And then you get to the other side and there's 320 stairs that you need to climb. And I'm toast. I have no strength in my legs. I'm just on salt and water still at this point, and a little bit of the smoothie. And we're nearing on 100k. So I'm climbing these stairs. It's everything I have, and I'm using the railing, which I'm very grateful that they had a railing there because the couple of stairs that they had before that, I was just crawling on my hands and all fours, basically just trying to grapple the ground to get up. And now we're at the top of this giant, beautiful waterfall after climbing the 320 stairs, and I'm on my way to the base of Mount St. Anne. Super runnable, super beautiful. It's basically like a crushed gravel service road until you have to cross the road. And now you're almost at the base of Mount St. Anne, kind of winding around, and you get to this Solomon aid station right before you do the big climb to the summit. And I've already quit in my head every step from the last 20k and the last 20k before that 20k. I'm done. Like I'm out. It doesn't matter what they do. There's nothing that they can do that's going to make me keep going anymore. I can't. My knees are messed up. The injury that I've worked so hard to prevent and to keep away, that's back, full swing. I'm going to damage myself if I keep going. Mark, thank you very much. I'm done. I can't keep going. I DNF. Well, why don't you just sit down for 5 minutes and we'll talk about it? Okay, sure, yeah. I'll sit down, man. But I'm done. Amber's filling my water for me. I drank both bottles. She fills them back up again. And then Mark gets me half of a veggie burger, which is awesome. And I was actually able to eat it. The first time in 100 kilometers that I was able to get nutrition, real nutrition, and it goes down and it stays down. So I eat another one. Perfect. I've eaten an entire veggie burger. That's awesome. I have energy. I have fuel enough to make it 3.5 kilometers to the top of the mountain where Amber and Mark aren't going to be, so I can finally DNF.
That's right.
They keep giving me everything I need, help, and water and more Advil, and they say very specifically, we don't want you to injure yourself permanently. So we want to see you succeed, but if you're going to injure yourself permanently, we'll get it. Well, you probably should have told me that before you gave me all of this help, because now you giving me all of this help, I feel guilty again, not continuing. So I go out the aid station at whatever pace that I can, which is remarkably slow for me at this time. I'm going to do this 3.5 kilometer section, climb 633 meters to the top, and there's the next aid station is going to be there. something to keep in mind throughout this story is that I don't have poles. I immediately after QMT drove straight to River and Trail and bought poles afterwards. Right. So I start climbing, and it's up. It is only up. It is full on using my hands, trying to get any sort of strength, because every step is like a foot higher than the other one. So you're mountain climbing essentially at this point, and it is hard. It's hot. You're in the shade, but it doesn't help. It's super humid. And I finish both of my bottles of water in that 3.5 kilometers. I make it to the top. My knee hurts, both of them at this point. And the veggie burger, yes, it helped, but I used it. It was gone. Yeah. Not because I threw it up, but because I used the energy that it provided. I get to the top. There's 2 people sitting on a picnic table, and they're doing the timing and making sure that everybody's okay. I come in. There's a medic just behind the tape, and I tell the 2 people at the table, I'm done. I DNF. I can't keep going. I DNF'd at the bottom, and now I'm here, and I can't keep going. There's like a 33-ish kilometers left to go, and that's okay with me. I'm going to be content if I do not continue with 33K left to go. It's going to be brutal. I am in a lot of pain. I cannot do this anymore. Well, why don't you just go sit down inside for 5 minutes? Yeah, I'll go sit down inside for 5 minutes, and then I'll come tell you that I DNF. The medic follows me inside after listening to me complain that I was done, I was in pain, whatever. And I go inside, and she's like, "When's the last time you peed?" Well, maybe like 6 hours ago. Okay. And when's the last time you ate? Well, I was able to eat at the bottom, but haven't really been able to keep food down aside from that. So she goes and she gets me some vegetable broth, and I drink that, and it's awesome. It's got everything I need, and it's like a little pick-me-up. I'm still gonna DNF, but it's that did help a lot. Well, what else is really going on? Well, I had this IT band issue, you see, and it's back in full swing. So she goes and she gets the physio. The physio comes over, gives me an IT band massage, tapes my IT band. She goes to the other knee. This one's okay. Well, this one kind of hurts when I'm descending as well. So she tapes that one. And I really appreciate the help. I'm still going to DNF. Right. They try to get me some food, like some chips and that sort of stuff. The chips, I had like 1 or 2 of them, but they just weren't really going down. So she gets me some more broth. That goes down. And I'm super grateful for all of this help, but I'm still going to DNF. So this guy comes over and he's like, "Hey man, I heard you're having some IT band issue or some IT band pain." And I was like, "Yeah, it's really brutal on the ups and the downs, and I pretty much just can't run." And he's like, "Give me a sec." So he runs outside. He comes back with this twisted, there's like 6 curves in it, looks like a wizard staff kind of stick. There's branches sticking off of this thing in every direction. It's like, well, you're not allowed to have poles, but it doesn't say anything about you not being able to have a stick. So take this and just put it on your IT band side, and then when it really starts to hurt, bend over and pull your knee over to the other side to really stretch out the IT band. You can do it, man. You got this. You can keep going. Okay. Whatever. Like, thanks for the help. Now I feel guilty not continuing on. I'm going to keep going. It's only 4.5 kilometers. You go down the mountain and then back up the mountain again. And the stick helped. The stick was awesome. The stick was everything. And the amount of nutrition I was able to get down and keep down because of that broth, everything worked out perfect. I mean, everything still hurt. Don't get me wrong. probably from running 100 kilometers on just salt and water. But I get back up to that aid station. I'm doing the math in my head. There's 20, maybe 25 kilometers left to go. Oh, and I can't DNF with 25 kilometers left to go.
Right.
So because I had spent so much time at that aid station, there was another member of St. John Trail Running that was up there at that time, and they sent Mark and Amber a message. And because I was receiving so much help, they thought that I was getting pulled off for a medical. So Mark and Amber are at the bottom of the hill thinking that, like, he's going to get a shuttle back down. He got pulled off for a medical, whatever. And I keep getting these texts on my watch from Amber, like, I hope you're okay, whatever. And I'm already running down the hill, or I'm walking down the hill, basically.
Walking quickly, yeah.
Walking quickly, swiftly, yeah. Trying not to fall, because it is really steep. With my stick, of course. And I dig my phone out of my bag, which I keep in the very back pocket, and I just text her. I said, I'm going to finish this son of a bitch. And I put my phone away, and that was the last communication. And I start running down the hill, get to the bottom of the hill, and then you do this weird loop thing through some really, really nice single track, and it's starting to get dark again. So I can't really think clearly. I didn't really bring any caffeine, which I definitely should have done. Didn't even know to ask for caffeine, which I should have done as well. And it starts to rain. So I pull out a raincoat that I didn't anticipate having to use. I borrowed it from Mark at the beginning because it was a mandatory gear item. And Mark and I are definitely different sizes. However, I put it on, put my bag all back on because the rain is starting. And then as soon as I get my bag back on and I start running, it's dark out. So I should have grabbed my headlamp as well, but I didn't. And I don't even stop to get the headlamp. I'm like, whatever, I'll just keep going. Then I start tripping on everything because you can't see because it's dark out. So I'm like, all right, something's going on here. Well, yeah, of course it is. You can't see because you don't have your headlamp. So I stop and I sit down on this big rock and I take maybe 5 minutes. I close my eyes and I just start thinking. Like, why did I leave the top? I've already been defeated. Like, it's brutal. I made the cutoff, so I'll make it there eventually, I guess. But this sucks. I'm having a bad time. And so I get the headlamp out. It's raining. I'm sweating a whole bunch now because I'm wearing a rain jacket. It's still hot. It's still humid. And I'm doing my best to do something that resembles a run. Right. With my big stick. I get to the last aid station. There's maybe like 10 kilometers ish to go. Mark and Amber are there. Sarah and James are there, and they're giving me everything they have. They pull out this giant tote. It's like, what do you need? I get some more KT tape because my stick ripped off the KT tape with one of those branches that was sticking off. So they retape my leg. They get me some food, and I was like, I'm finishing this in an hour and a half. I have to finish this in an hour and a half because that's all I have left. Right. So after receiving all of this help, there was no DNFing at this aid station. I had already committed, and I get to the point where I'm about to leave, and I say, I'll be at the finish in an hour and a half. Period. So I leave, and I'm running. For what felt like the first time since the very beginning of the race, I'm running. I'm in pain. Everything hurts. It doesn't matter. You're almost done. You can die at the end. Right. And it's super runnable. It's a beautiful trail, and I would have loved to have seen it during the daytime. But it's just this beautiful single track. It's not super technical. It's just windy. There's not a crazy amount of elevation. It's a little bit of up and down and whatever, but everything was runnable, and I was running it. I passed a couple of people, which I was able, which at that point didn't matter, but I get to this big river crossing, and there's people in the water just sitting in there with cameras, and they have these lights going and big ropes. And I thought that was really cool because I'm feeling good at this point. I mean, I'm still miserable. I'm in a lot of pain. I didn't enjoy any of it. And I'm running just to finish as fast as I possibly can. And I get to across the water, and now I'm back at the base of Mount St. Anne, to a place where I've already been, and I know exactly how far I have to go. And I'm power hiking this hill that looks like it's not even a hill, because any amount of elevation, and I was not running. There was no energy for that. And I get to the last downhill, and I'm running again. I can see the finish. I get this feeling in my temple that is like, it's emotional. It's like, holy shit, you actually are about to finish this. And then get across the big stage, the big gate, and with my stick, and I just hold it up over my head. I did it. I finished. And it wasn't at that point that I was able to say that I did it, that I finished, because in my head I was a quitter. I don't like to quit things. I will suffer. I will do whatever. I don't. The words "I quit" don't usually come out of my mouth, and they did a lot, more times than I've ever done in my entire life. So in my head, even though I had finished, I was still a quitter. And it took me probably like 5 or 6 days to even acknowledge the fact that it was me that finished that. Because in my head, Mark and Amber and Sarah and James and like the entire community and everybody that supported me up until that point, like, they were the ones that did it. Because yes, I was a vessel and I crossed the finish line, but I quit. Like, I didn't have what it takes. I did not have the strength or the courage or whatever to get across that line. It wasn't me. And 5 or 6 days after the event, I'm already home, I'm working, and I'm like, yeah, I think next time I do it. And it was at that point when I said next time. It's like, well, if you're going to do it again, then it couldn't have been the worst thing you ever did. It was. It was definitely like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever done in my life. And maybe like 3 to 4 days after I said next time, I acknowledged the fact that I did it. I was able to finish. And yes, I did, but I could not have done it without their help. Because, like, just like I felt like I did not do it, they did it, whatever, I could not have done it without all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a team sport through and through.
Yeah. That's an amazing story, Cody, because I feel like I just ran the whole course with you, and I think that's just so encouraging for us, because we've all been there in one spot or another, you know, and to just be able to share that with you, and to have you kind of articulate that to us is a really, really special thing. So thank you for doing that. Jeff, do you got anything you want to throw out before we wrap up?
You kept the stick, right? Like, it's in your closet somewhere on your mantle.
I was encouraged to keep the stick. I did not keep the stick.
That's too bad. It would have been cool
it wasn't even a good stick.
Yeah.
I'd have bronzed it. Like, I'd have put it on my mantle. That'd have been the end of that. Are you at Looney Loops this year?
Yes, sir.
What is your plan for Looney Loops this year? How do you best what you did last year? Or are you planning to?
By running for 12 hours instead of 24.
Yeah, just having a good time. Good for you.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something tells me it'll still be awesome and amazing. But yeah, good. That's good. Well, we'll look forward to see you. And yes, as Brandon said, you did an excellent job articulating that run. It was cool. I know that our listeners are going to appreciate the fact that you left all the details out there for us. That was an amazing story. So good on you. That was great.
I'm glad you guys liked it, and thanks for listening.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll make sure we catch up. Make sure you bring some of those candies to Looney Loops, because I'll be looking to grab some on my way through as we go through that together. So we appreciate you, Cody. Thanks for being on the show.
No problem, man. Anytime.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Well, Jeff, that was our conversation with Cody. Great conversation with him. It felt like we were like reading one of those like ultra books that you and I both love. Like,
oh man,
kind of hearing all the details and just the grit and the passion to kind of have people pushing them through it was just pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, man, that was a great story. He runs enough. He might do some crazy things. He might be able to actually write a book someday,
right?
That I would read. Although the whole time he was talking about this, escapade that he was on, not eating and throwing up, I was just sitting there thinking, my goodness, I'm so glad the QMT 80 sold out before I registered, because I was actually going to try to do that. And it must have been like divine intervention that was like, no, you might actually die if you go do this. So I feel like the fact that it sold out was... I'm really glad it did at this point, because I would not have been ready for that, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just he'll be listening to this, I'm sure, but I'm just really grateful that he was willing to stay up. You know, like we went into his bedtime, like we recorded a little late, so we finished up around 9:00. So hopefully it wasn't too late for him. But
that hard 9:00 bedtime. He didn't doze off while he was talking to us. So
no. But it was great to hear that story. And QMT sounds like a real like grinder, doesn't it? Like, doesn't
something, man. Yeah, I'm not saying I'll never do it. When I say that, I'm glad I didn't end up registering, but and I'm not saying that I wouldn't be able to do it someday. I just feel like I wouldn't have been ready for this round. So yeah, someday we'll go and we'll enjoy it. We'll do something. Someday. Maybe I'll do the QMT 6. They have a QMT 6 next year. I saw that.
Sounds like my kind of speed right there. We can join it with the Kids Fun Run or whatever.
That one. We could sponsor the Kids Fun Run as Chasing Trails podcast or something, and then just go down and I saw someone on Instagram sneak in a little registration to the QMT 50 a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "Cue the comeback." So I heard, I saw Marky McCoglin there. He registered for the QMT 50 next year, I think.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Well, if as long as we don't have to dress up like the bunnies or whatever that kids chase after, or like a hot dog or something, I think I'd be all right.
We'd make a great hot dog, you know. We wouldn't be as fast as Kelsey, but
I think I'm more like a hamburger.
The Hamburglar. Right? We can dress up as the Hamburglar. They can chase us down. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
but yeah, maybe we should think about it. You know, if Mark's going up to do the QMT 50, maybe we should do the QMT 10.
Yeah, that's right.
Good to go.
Yeah. Anyways, folks, we hope you appreciated that episode. A fantastic conversation with Cody Cooper, and real inspiration to us all to just keep gritting it through things. Like sometimes you just gotta grind it and not give up. And so. Yeah.
It was the story I needed to hear this week for sure. For sure.
Good inspiration. Good to just keep pushing through. And in the meantime, everyone, keep on chasing the trails.
1, 2,